Good morning, everybody. I heard from my friend Mrs. Corson that the last time I did a video in my robe and pajamas that you guys thought that was pretty funny. So I thought I would just start off this morning and not even get dressed yet. So here's what I would like to do today. I'd like to give you some ideas for just fun ways to practice your letters and your sounds, kind of like games you can play or searches you can have at your house. So you might want to listen to this one with your mom and dad because there might be some ideas that you would like to use at home. So the first thing I wanted to show you was a picture I took on my phone. When my kids were little, we had alphabet cards. So you might have something like this at your house, which is just a bunch of cards with the letters of the alphabet. If you don't, you could make your own. You could just take index cards like this, and you could draw letters on the back and do one for each letter of the alphabet. So once you have your alphabet cards, a lot of times people play with these like flashcards. You know, moms or dads or big brothers or sisters or somebody will show you the card and you're supposed to say the name of the letter. You could play it like that, except instead of the name of the letter, you could do a silent game. And you could just do the sign. So if they showed you this letter, you would just go and not say anything. Or you could even do the sign for the thing that it is. Like you could do the sign for cat. Or they could show you the letter and you could say, C says k, k, cat. So that's a way to practice everything all together. Another thing you could do is you could turn all the letters upside down on the table and you could draw a letter, and then you have 1 minute to find as many things in your house that begin with that letter. So let's say you turned over a T and your mom or your dad or whoever is helping you with this had a clock and they said, okay, you're going to find everything you can and bring it back to me that starts with a T, like turtle. So you might run in the bathroom and grab a towel. You might run into your room and grab a toy. You could maybe grab a, I'm trying to think of something else. Maybe have you ever heard of tinker toys? Some people have tinker toys. That would be a double tinker toy. So you would bring everything and then you would tell your parents why that started with the letter. They might say, why did you bring this? And then you have to explain to them why it starts with the sound. So that's another game you could play. And maybe sometimes your mom or dad would like to take a turn and they'll run around the house and find all the things that they can find. So that's a couple things you could do with alphabet cards. Another thing you could do is, I know you have word wall words, and I know you're taking word cards home. So you probably know this one says mom. This one says dad. So something you could do with this is, as you practice your word cards, maybe finger spell them. Here is what finger spelling is. So if you remember the sign for M, it was like this, and then O, and then another M. So maybe when you're practicing, if your parents show you this word, then you could say, oh, that's the word mom, and I'm going to finger spell it. And you would look at the word and you would do the sign and say the name of the letter as you go. So you would say M-O-M spells mom. So how about dad? D-A-D spells dad. So you can finger spell things. Another idea for finger spelling is when you're riding in the car with your mom and dad or with your grandparents or a babysitter, you know how you look out the window at all the signs? As you're looking at the signs, start to spell things with your hands. Just be aware of all the words that are around you all the time. Let's say you're going to Canterbury School. C-A N. I don't think we've done N yet. And then you could keep on going to spell Canterbury. Or maybe you pull up to a stop sign and you would finger spell S-T-O-P. Now we haven't done S yet, so there's a few letters we have to learn still, the signs for those. But just look at the letters that you do know. P at the end of the word stop. We know O, and we know T. You can do everything except the S. So that's another thing you can do. You can do finger spelling in the car. Let's say you're sitting at a restaurant. And, well, not many people are going to restaurants right now. Let's say you're sitting someplace where you need to be patient. Maybe there's a lot of traffic and you're stopped on the road and you're getting bored. So instead of getting on mom or dad's phone and getting your brain all on technology, play a sound game. Maybe have your mom or dad or whoever's driving say a sound. They might have to do it in the mirror so you can see their lips. Like if they said, I hear the sound, and then you would have to make the sound and say, I know what says M, what says M. Or maybe if you get really good, they could just hold up their hand and they could make the sign. If your mom and dad learned the signs, that would be so cool. So they're driving you to school and they say, hey, what letter's this? And you could say, that's a C. C says K. And then they might say, hey, what letter's this? And they show it to you in the back seat and you would say, that's an L. L says L for lion. So there are all kinds of things you can do with the signs that you might not be able to do without them, because you might not always have paper or pencil or cards, but you always have your hands with you, right? So I think that's why it's really cool to learn the signs. One other thing I wanted to tell you is that you could also practice writing the letters, and maybe you have your alphabet cards and you turn one over and you practice on a piece of paper. You practice writing whatever the letter is. Or maybe you're just sitting at the table and you're practicing word wall words, and somebody says, let's write the word dad. So you have the card right in front of you. That's called having a reference. So you get to look at the card, you get to see the D, and then you make the D. Then you look and see what's next, A. And then you look and see what's last, another D. So you practice writing your word wall words. Sometimes writing helps the words get into your head so that you remember them. So reading is different than writing, but they really go together. They really, really do go together. Hey, and I have something I wanted to point out. I saw a paper the other day from a very good friend of mine, and this is what it looked like. It looked like a pretty good lowercase h. Can you see it? But I think, I haven't talked to her to know for sure, I think what she did is she made the hump and then she added the stick. So remember on H, high dive, dive down, swim up over and bump. So I'm going to make one right here. I wanted to tell you guys that because I just talked about that with my friend. So remember, start up here, dive down, swim up over and bump. So start at the top. And that is not a mistake that I talked about with you guys, because I did see that a bunch when I was in kindergarten. So just be super picky and super careful about how you're printing your letters. And then I think I'm going to look at my little list of things I had. Okay, that was it for my ideas. You can always think of lots of your own ideas too. So I wanted to tell you a little rhyme I made up a few years ago. So this kind of goes with learning the alphabet and how powerful this helps you be. So it goes like this. Curves and lines on a page looked like scribbles to me. But then I learned the power, and they became the A, B, C's. So that is what you are working hard in kindergarten doing. You are learning the power of reading and writing, and you will use it the rest of your lives. So work hard at it. Work hard at it. Never give up, and you will have that power. See you later.